Not everything needs to move fast. Not every miracle comes quick. So today, let's take this one slow. Miracles don't always arrive loud. Sometimes they come quietly, in stillness, a warm mug, a quiet breath, a moment that doesn't need to be impressive, just real. We've been taught to chase wonder, to expect something big, bold, loud, Instagrammable. But maybe wonder was never supposed to be loud. Maybe it lives in the pause, in the glance, in the sound of someone you love moving around in the other room. This morning, I'm not talking about the big stuff, not birth, not recovery, not burning bush revelations. I'm talking about the small, the overlooked, the quiet, ordinary miracles that still have the power to change us. This is I Drink My Coffee Black and My Whiskey Neat, where we don't shout, we pour. And this morning, we're pouring stillness, the kind that sneaks up on you and stays. And sometimes that stillness, it isn't empty. It's holding something small, something we usually overlook. So let's start with one of those quiet miracles. You ever feel unnoticed? Not ignored, but almost transparent. Like no one really catches your presence. And then, one day, someone does. Maybe it's the barista who smiles before you even speak, who remembers how you take your coffee. Or the friend who texts just when your chest is tight and your hands are full. A stranger who says something kind with no agenda. That's not just coincidence. That's a miracle. It's the opposite of being forgotten. It's being seen. That miracle, being seen, it shows up in places you never think to look. Not always in the familiar. Not always in the people who know your story. Sometimes it comes from a stranger, like it did for me in Greece. I was on assignment, exhausted, burned out from months of nonstop work. I was sitting at a quiet cafe, trying to gather my thoughts. Missing home, missing my kids, missing me. Then out of nowhere, a toddler, maybe 2 or 3, came up and wrapped his arms around my leg like I was his dad. At first, I thought he mistaken me for someone else. I waited for the panic, for him to look up and realize I wasn't who he thought I was. But he looked up and didn't flinch. Not startled, not confused, just steady. Like somehow, he knew I needed a moment like that. His mom came rushing over, apologizing, embarrassed. She tried to pull him away, but he held on, reached for me again. I smiled, told her it was okay, that I had kids too. I didn't take him, just gave him a high five, and that was enough. He let go. And honestly, it let something go in me too. That moment calmed the storm inside. It reminded me that even strangers, even children, can see something true in you. That's not just coincidence. That's a miracle. It's the opposite of being forgotten. It's a moment that said, you're here, you matter, and in that instant, I believed it. Being seen is one kind of miracle, but it's not the only kind, because presence doesn't always come through the eyes. Sometimes it comes through the skin, through the spark of a touch, and then there's that current, that charge, that chemistry. We don't talk enough about how miraculous physical connection is. Yes, sex, but not the performance part, the presence. The way your skin tingles when the right person touches you. The way your eyes take them in, their tone, their body, their skin, and it doesn't feel rushed or inappropriate. It feels right. The way a kiss, when it's honest, can stop time. How your body leans in before your brain has a chance to catch up. And when the moment's right, when you're both fully there, hearing their breath, the sound they make, the rhythm of it all, it becomes music. Not background music, not noise, but a score written for your body in real time. An orchestra you didn't know you were part of until you felt it play through your bones. It's not just pleasure. its presence. And when it lands like that, it's not just biology, it's divine. But connection isn't always physical. Sometimes it's that whisper that rises before thought. You know that voice? The one that says no before your mouth does? The one that tells you to stay, to leave, to run, to rest, and doesn't need words to do it? That's our internal compass. And the older we get, the more I believe that voice is sacred. It's not loud. It doesn't beg for your attention. It doesn't give you a long story or arguments. It just speaks, soft and low, but with a kind of instruction that cuts through everything else. It saved me from things I couldn't explain and walked me into moments I didn't plan. The miracle isn't that the voice exists, it's that we can hear it, but only if we're still enough, quiet enough, honest enough to listen. I've felt that voice in my own life, clearer than logic, stronger than fear. I remember after I got out of the military, I drove 8 hours to an interview. I was beat, worn down. I hadn't factored in how the road would rattle my nerves, how long, quiet hours in the car could stir up every ounce of doubt I've been trying to outrun. I stood outside that building and nearly turned around. Everything in me was spiraling. Nerves, fear, that old ache of not enough. But that silent voice inside said, "You're qualified, more than qualified." Not in a motivational poster way, not ego, just a knowing. It didn't scream, it didn't stutter, it whispered. So I walked in, against all logic, against my exhaustion. And that job, it led to the next chapter of my life. Not because of the paycheck, but because of the people it placed in my path, the purpose it unlocked. That moment wasn't loud, but it was my guide. Following that whisper changed everything. That's the power of instinct, of inner voice, of sacred direction. But whispers don't only steer you forward. Sometimes they resurrect what you thought was gone. A return. A flicker of creativity you thought you buried. You're numb, dry, drained. Then suddenly, a sentence comes. A melody. An idea you didn't chase, it just shows up. It's the moment when your brain and your heart shake hands and say, "I got an idea." That's a miracle. Not because it's art, but because something that was dead inside you suddenly breathed. Sometimes it's a song, out of nowhere, that feels like it was written just for you. You're driving, thinking, spinning out. Then the song hits. Not just any song, that one. The lyrics land exactly where the ache is. The melody finds your breath. You didn't ask for it, but it showed up anyway. That's more than a shuffle. That's alignment. Or it's the morning itself. The fact that you woke up at all and get to try again. Everyone loves the song Tomorrow. I do too. But for me, the miracle isn't in the lyric. It's in the fact that I get it tomorrow. That I can wake up with breath in my lungs and a chance to rewrite something I messed up the day before. To correct it. To show up different. To be gentler. Or braver. That's mercy. That's grace. That's the kind of miracle we overlook, because it comes dressed like routine. And maybe that's the point, that the ordinary is what grounds us, that even in the noise, there's a place you're meant to stand. And maybe it's realizing that where you are right now is exactly where you're meant to be. I've had those days, the ones where everything is uncertain, money, health, marriage, identity, when your brain is running marathons trying to find answers that haven't arrived yet, trying to patch holes in a life that still leaks. And then, in the middle of the noise, something shifts. It's quiet, it's subtle, but it lands. A stillness in your chest, a breath you didn't realize you were holding, finally exhaling. And you just know, not in a logical way, but in a bone-deep way, that where you are at this very second is exactly where you should be. Some people call this moment many things. I call it deja vu. When everything slows down for just a second, so you take notice. Nothing's fixed, nothing's certain, but in that moment, you stop reaching. You stop proving. You stop editing yourself for the room. And for once, you're not waiting for the next moment to be better. You're not regretting the last one. You're in this one fully. It's not comfort. It's not clarity. But you found your true north. You still don't have the map. But for a second, you don't need one. You just exist. Not perfectly, but peacefully. And in that peace comes another miracle. One we don't talk about enough. Forgiveness. Not the easy kind, but the real kind. The kind that lets you both breathe again. Forgiveness is underrated and overcomplicated. We think it's a transaction. I say sorry, you say okay. But the real kind is deeper than that. It's when someone sees the mess you made, the damage, the selfishness, the pain, and still says, I'm not holding this over you. That's a miracle, because it frees both of you and lets the story keep going without that weight. And once the weight is gone, you start to notice what rises in its place. Laughter. The kind that returns after trauma, like sunlight cracking through rubble. This one gets me. Because when you've lived through pain, real pain, laughter doesn't come easy. It feels disrespectful, or impossible, or foreign. And then one day, it comes. A joke lands, a memory softens, and suddenly, your mouth remembers how to curve again, and you laugh. Not a forced laugh, a real one. And for a second, it doesn't hurt to feel alive. That's resurrection. That's a miracle. And when you start to stack them together, the forgiveness, the laughter, the stillness, the whispers, you realize something. They're all just a mirror. Every story, every still moment, every whisper of alignment, it all leads here, to the greatest of the ordinary miracles. You. Not some future version of you. Not the healed or perfected version. You. Breathing, listening, surviving. We forget this. We forget that our bodies are performing miracles every second of every minute just to keep us here. Your skin, repairing itself every time you get cut. Your lungs, pulling in oxygen without being asked. Your heart, beating 100,000 times a day. Your brain, firing faster than shadows can shift at sunrise, just so you can think a thought. And your soul, still choosing to stay, even after all it's been through. We talk about miracles like they're rare, but the truth is, you are made of them. There are systems inside you right now, fighting to keep you alive, guiding you, protecting you, healing you without permission or applause. Your cells regenerate, your blood clots, your immune system searches for invaders and fights them off without ever needing a thank you. You are a walking, breathing, breaking and rebuilding human forest. Bones is trees, breath is wind, every scar a ring of growth, every moment another season. Don't tell me miracles aren't out there. They're in here. They're in you. You are the miracle. And every ordinary moment that tries to tell you otherwise doesn't get the final say. So now you know. The miracles, they're not out there waiting to be found. They're in here, in your chest, your breath, your blood, your becoming. They show up quiet. They show up ordinary, but they're real. And if you've been waiting for a sign, maybe this is it. Not because it's loud, but because it's true. This is I Drink My Coffee Black and My Whiskey Neat, where we don't shout, we pour. And this morning, we poured the kind of miracle that doesn't need an applause. It just needs to be noticed. So until next time, stay present, stay soft, and don't forget, You are the miracle. Every ordinary breath, every unseen moment, every quiet becoming. And all of it is carrying you home.